Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded NBA Ranking Show. I am your host, Eric, the big dog in the house. Kenny, how are you?
What's going on? Going on, Eric?
Not much, brother. So, interesting list this week. It kind of stayed the same, but with some differences in that fifth spot. I guess we bring up this list and then we'll go from there and kind of see where we're at. But I mean, if you look at the teams that have been consistently on this list,
Yeah.
Cleveland's kind of been in and out. Memphis has been on this list at 4. Brooklyn just got on the list last week, but have played extremely well the last, month and a half or so. Boston at number 2, and then the Denver Nuggets at number 1. So I guess before we start, why Cleveland and not Milwaukee or Philadelphia? That's been the one controversy where people have really kind of questioned why.
Well, Philly, I would have put at number 6, but they're just struggling. They are just struggling. Them and Milwaukee are just struggling to get on the list. But Cleveland,
I would say, right, inconsistencies when
yep,
it comes to those teams that just not playing well. But Cleveland 5-5 in their last 10. So again, they won enough games to get on, but it's close on all three of those teams.
very
I could
close.
honestly say could be at number 5.
Yeah, very close. Very close.
But let's start right off with those Cleveland Cavaliers. And they're 26-16 on the season, 18-4 at home. So you think about the home record, phenomenal home record. 8-12 on the road, though, seem to still not be able to get over the hump when it comes to playing on the road. 111.5 points per game and 106.8 given up. 5-5 in their last 10. At Portland, at Minnesota, and then home for New Orleans before our next rankings. We know what Donovan Mitchell's done. Out of this world, 71 points, and has just continued to carry this team, averaging 29.3 points per game, leads the team in steals at 1.5. Mm-hmm. So, you're getting a lot of contribution, though, from they're a young team. Why Cleveland? Why are they playing so well? 10 games over 500.
It's their defense. It's their defense. A lot of guys are putting their palms up and getting in stands. It's their defense. They're number 1 ranked in defense.
Right. Very large team when you think about Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. They've got some big bodies that have definitely contributed. Jared Allen averaging 9.8 rebounds per game. Mm-hmm. And then Mobley, 1.3 blocks. So, again, defensively, to your point. And then Darius Garland, his return has kind of sparked this team, giving them a second guy to depend on. Can Donovan Mitchell carry this team? How far can they go?
They'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they can make a deep run in the playoffs.
Right. I think with that away record, it kind of scares you a little bit that those are the games you want to win. Yep. Very good at home. But again, there's games in the playoffs played on the road. So unfortunately, you got to learn how to win some of those as well. And, based on your seeding, you may be the team that's on the road more than at home. So it's going to be interesting to see. Yep. Memphis Grizzlies at 4, 28-13, 18-3 at home, 10-10 on the road, 116.8 points per game, 111.8 points given up, 8-2 in their last 10. At Indiana and then Phoenix at home before their next game. They're 5-0 this week since our last ranking show. So they've won 5 straight since our last show. Ja Morant, we talked about. It's Ja calling you right now.
Yeah.
Averaging 27.6 points per game, 7.9 assists, leads the team in both categories. But they're getting a lot of contribution from everybody. Desmond Bane, 21.2 points per game. Jaren Jackson Jr., 16.8 points. Dylan Brooks, 16.7 points per game. Tyus Jones, 10.9 and Brandon Clark at 10.1. And then don't sleep on Steven Adams, 11.5 rebounds per game. What is the issue with Memphis? Why are they not higher? Because that's one of the top teams, probably about a month ago.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I was watching them, and they look kind of slow. They look kind of slow. They look kind of tired. I mean, they used to run and gun. Last year, they used to run and gun, run and gun, run and gun, beat teams down the floor. But I don't think that's happening anymore. But they still have a good team. Jared Jackson has more blocks than fouls, so it's still
Wow,
good.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, look, the NBA season's so long.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see him cut it back. That's not what I'm saying. I don't want it to, I like the 82 game season.
Mm-hmm.
But we can see that a lot of teams take some time off, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They go through a stretch like a month or two where they just don't play as hard or don't try as hard. And then come, April, May, when it really starts to amp up again, those are the teams that rise to the top. So I think Memphis is going to be one of those teams. I think they're going to be one of those teams that just kind of coast through for the next month or two.
Yep.
They still have enough talent to win games, but I don't think they're going to press. They're not trying to get the number one record in the NBA. They're not trying.
No.
I think they're just running, what they can do till they get to the playoff push.
Yeah, they want to sneak in and, be incognito so they can have a
Yeah.
big,
Yeah. I mean,
big
look, right
games.
now, the 2 seed in the West.
Yep.
So, and they're tied record wise with Denver. So, I mean, realistically, you could say they could end up with the number 1 seed when it's all said and done.
Yep.
All right, my friend. This team's an interesting one. Brooklyn Nets, 27-13, 13-5 at home, 14-8 on the road, 114.6 points per game, 110.6 points given up, 9-1 in their last 10. They've got games they're playing right now in Boston at home and then OKC at home. Kevin Durant now with this injury, that could be a deciding factor when it comes to how they perform and what's going to go on.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, he's leading the team in points, 29.7 points per game. Kyrie's going to have to carry this team. He's averaging 26. Nick Claxton, very quietly, look, 11.9 points per game. Doesn't sound great, but 8.3 rebounds and 2.6 blocks. Ben Simmons, leads the team in assists, 6 assists, 1.4 steals, which is one of the things that we said when they brought him defensively. 7.7 points. He's obviously going to have to put up more points. How much can Brooklyn do in the next, month or so without Kevin Durant?
They can do it. They can do a lot. They can do a lot. Like you said, Claxton, he is a defensive monster. They get near that basket and he'll block everything. And I am so shocked. Royce O'Neal has been stepping up. He hit a game buzzer yesterday, and he's a big key for this Nets team.
Yeah, look, you got to talk about the job that Jacques Vaughn's done.
Oh yeah,
what a difference this team has been since he came on board. And we can sit back and say they didn't want to play for Nash.
Mm-hmm.
They still had talent. It's the same talent, and he's getting more out of these players. You're seeing more from the team. They're getting hot at the right time, I think, because they kind of staying in this race now. They're the second team in the East. Brooklyn, to me, is that scary team that could basically make a run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? They got the combination of Durant and Irving. You said, defensively, we can make fun of Ben Simmons all we want. But look, defensively, if he's going to get, he's a shutdown guy. Let's just say it's Boston. They're going to put him on Tatum. Defensively, he causes problems. And then you got Claxton in the middle. You can't drive to the basket.
Nope.
This team's interesting.
Oh yeah, and they want revenge. Last year, they want revenge.
Yeah, without a doubt. You got to think about what everybody said about them in their playoff struggles. The key to this team right now is going to be health. right?
Hmm.
You can't afford to have these guys continuously get hurt. If KD or Irving, you know what I mean, just the rest of the season kind of in and out of the lineup, that's where you could struggle. And Kevin
Yeah.
Durant, as great as he is as a player, I mean, the injury bug has seemed to find him every single season now for the last what 4 or 5 years,
Yep. 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
and
Yep.
now it's the knee. You know what I mean? It was the ankle. It's just they ask a lot of Durant, and that's
Yeah.
probably what's going to cause him to continue to get injured. So, how about
Yep.
your Boston Celtics, Kenny?
Mm.
30-12, 17-5 at home, 13-7 on the road, 118.6 points per game, 112.6 points allowed, 8-2 in their last 10 games. Again, we talked about at Brooklyn tonight, at Charlotte, and then at Charlotte again. So back to back Charlotte's 4-0 since our last show. Jason Tatum having, could we call it an MVP season?
Yes.
30.8
Yes.
points per game, 8.1 rebounds. Jalen Brown, 27.2. So that 1-2 punch. Marcus Smart leading the team in assists and steals. We've seen a different Celtics team, though, since the beginning of the season, Kenny.
Hmm.
Which team do you think they are? Are they that dominant team that can just outscore anybody? Are they the defensive team that we've seen the last couple of weeks where they seem to hold teams under 100 or around 100 points per game? Which team is it, and which team will they need to be to win in the NBA playoffs?
They need to be that defensive team, even though it's a roller coaster right now. It's just a roller coaster. One day, one game they're hot on offense. One game they're hot on defense. It's just a roller coaster right now with that team. Um, it's up and down, up and down. Good thing is, I hate to say it again because I don't want to jinx us, but we're 6-0. We're 6-0 when we play back to back. So
And they're
let's
playing
see.
back to back tonight against Brooklyn. So,
Yep.
Kenny, I know you've kind of I put you on the spot. You said they're your favorites to win it all.
Hmm.
Do you still feel that way even after the last month?
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. If we can get guys healthy. I know Al Horford is out tonight. Jalen Brown's out tonight. Eric Williams should be playing, or Robert Williams should be playing because he was
Eric
out
Williams,
last
we
night.
going way
Eric
back,
Williams,
bro.
I know, right? Robert
Number
Williams the third.
55. Do you
Robert,
remember? That's
yeah,
coming up,
right.
but it's not.
Yeah,
We're not
right.
there yet.
Yeah, right. Robert Williams the third should be playing tonight because he rested
But
last
that's that
night.
back to back thing where I think you got to start to look at, are they going to pick up? They got to make a move. Brad Stevens has to make a move probably sooner than later because a lot of they're very tight in the East. There's not a big separation between Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Cleveland, Boston, and you're going to have to make sure you got guys that can play and be on the court. And the problem's going to be is we already said Horford's not going to play back to backs.
Right.
He played
No,
last night. He didn't play. He's not playing today. Rob
right.
Williams will not play back to backs.
No.
So they're going to kind of monitor these guys, and they need some bigs. They need to be able to get guys off this, either trade or a free agent that's still out there that maybe they could bring in that's going to be able to contribute minutes, especially in the playoff time on the bench.
Yep.
We
Yep.
haven't seen a lot out of Blake Griffin. That
Nope.
move was kind of just, I
Yeah.
think, to get a name or in there because honestly, he doesn't play back to backs either.
No, he doesn't. He barely plays, but he's playing
Yeah,
tonight, I guess.
yeah. Well, I
Because
think they're kind
because
of at that
yeah,
point. They don't have
yeah,
anybody, but
exactly.
but the thing is, it's concerning when you get into the playoff in that push. And I know we're about halfway through the season, believe it or not, right?
Yep.
Because that's
Yep.
what 42 games they've played. The season's 82 games. They got 40 games
Yep.
left.
Yep.
And we've got to start to look at, will they make a move? Should they make a move? And if they don't make a move, is this enough?
They got to make a move. They have to make a move somehow, some way. I mean, I hate to see double P go, but you got to make a move. Move.
Yeah, and again, I think that's the key, right? There's some guys on there that you kind of sit back and go, "Do I really want to lose them?" But are they
Yeah,
really going to be a contributor in the playoffs? Is
yeah,
Peyton Pritchard
yeah.
going to be a guy that you're going to be
No,
putting on the court in game 4 of a, you know what I mean? Or game
no.
7 of a must win,
Yeah.
right? So they need to
Grant
find those guys.
Grant Williams, yeah. Double
Yeah.
P? I'm sorry. No, no.
Right. And Grant Williams, another one of those guys, like he can be really good or he could be really bad.
Yes, yes,
And they just don't
yes,
have that consistency in Boston
yeah,
with a lot of these guys. And I love Tatum. And this isn't a knock on Tatum, but Tatum gets a very quiet game sometimes. Like you just sit back and but at the end you look at the stat lines and you say, "Wow, he scored 30 plus points." Really? It was so
you're right.
quiet. Like nothing big,
Yeah,
nothing exciting. He doesn't take over a game. You don't see that. You'll see Jalen Brown do it, but then Jalen Brown will have 3 games in a row where you just sit back and go, "Okay, he's a 20 plus point a game night guy.
yeah,
That's what he
yeah,
is." So
yeah.
I just don't. There's a lot of inconsistencies with Boston, and it scares me. It scares me. But hey, stranger things have happened.
Yes, strange things have happened.
All right, let's talk about the number 1 team. That's the Denver Nuggets at 28 and 13, 18 and 3 at home, 10 and 10 on the road. That one surprised me.
Hmm.
117 points per game, 113.2 points allowed, 8 and 2 in their last 10 games at the Clippers, and then home for Orlando before our next rankings. They were also 4 and 0 since our last ranking show, so they've run the table last week. Jokic, back to back to back. Is this where we're going with him at MVP? Should anybody else even bother?
Uh, he, he should, but he's not going to win a third MVP. No, he's not going to
Are
win
you
a third.
kidding?
But
24.9 points per game, 11 rebounds per
yeah,
game, 9.7 assists, and he leads the
yeah,
team in steals with 1.4.
yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah, but they're not
Take
going to give him.
Den-
They're,
take
they're not going to give
Go
him the
ahead.
third time.
All right,
Give
here's
him a
my
third
argument.
MVP.
Here's my argument to you, Kenny. And you tell
Okay.
me if I'm wrong.
All
You
right.
take Nikolai Jokic off the Denver Nuggets. What's their record right now? They're 28 and 13 right
Woo!
now.
13 and 28.
Right? How's he not the most valuable player on this team
This
in the
this guy
league?
could this guy could do it all, yo. This guy can rebound, he can pass, he can score, he can shoot the three. This guy could do it. This guy can do everything. I, I he's second. He'll be second in MVP because they're not going to give him
Which
the
is
third time.
crazy. Who gives
Yeah,
who gets it? Who gets it? If you have to pick right now, the season ended today. Nikolai Jokic is not your MVP
I'm,
because you don't think they can give him back to back to back. So who's that?
no,
Who's MVP?
Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum. I'm sorry, Jason Tatum. And it's not me being a homer, but he is having an excellent season. When you hit 32 games with 40 plus points, that's that's
But that's what I'm saying. He's the
that's
quiet guy. He's that
yeah,
guy that again, you could throw that stat out to me and I'll say I don't believe you until I see the stat line. Where Jokic fills up the stat line every time they're like, "Oh, he almost got a triple double. Oh, he almost got a triple double. Oh, he almost got a triple double." And I'm like, that makes sense. That's what he does.
so he's like the old San Antonio Spurs. just boring, bland. Okay, yeah, uh-huh. Dump it into Tim. Yeah, he'll lay it up. Yeah. Yeah. But it's effective. It
Yes, it
was
is.
effective.
It was very, very effective. So, can I say I believe this is the deepest team in the NBA? You
Yeah.
got Jamal Murray averaging 18.4, Aaron Gordon 16.5, Michael Porter Jr. 16 points, Bones Highland, not
Mm,
Highlander.
mm,
That's an old sci-fi movie back in the day. I don't know if you remember that one. Do you remember that, Kenny?
yes. Oh
Bones
yes.
Highland 13.6, KCP Katavius Caldwell Pope 11.6, and Bruce Brown 11 points per game. They're getting contributions across the board. This team, to me, again, they're my favorite to win it all. Was my pick on our NBA ranking,
Mm,
the NBA player preview show.
Mhm.
Can they win the West? Can they win the whole thing, Kenny?
They can. They'll be in the West. They will be. Matter of fact, they will Western Conference champs. I'm with you. I'm with you. Western Conference champs. Because Phoenix ain't gonna do it. The Warriors ain't gonna do it unless they have a miracle where Steph Curry just goes on a run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
a lot of
yeah,
those teams that were, some of those top echelon teams in the West have kind of fallen back.
yeah.
Injuries, age, whatever you want to sit back and say. To me, that it's Denver and Memphis. And as I was doing this list, I mean, Sacramento's fourth in the West right now, fourth in the West, 22-18. The Sacramento Kings. And so you think about what's on top in the West. I mean, Denver's probably the cream of the crop. They've got to be the top team when we look at the Western Conference, just because of the depth. And then Jokic.
Yeah.
It's going to be, listen, if they don't win it all, I'm going to be surprised, because the only thing that can hurt this team at this point is injuries. Jamal Murray and Jokic are that 1-2 punch. You're getting production from Gordon and Porter as your 3-4, and they're averaging over 16 points a game. You tell me how any team can realistically in a 7-game series beat this team.
You can. They can.
Right? To me, this has got to be the favorite.
They play so well together. They're coached very well. And this guy just no joke.
Yeah, no joke. No joke for the Joker. Right.
No.
Again, I'm glad you brought that up, but think about it. If he had 9.7 assists, he could probably score 30 points a game.
Yeah.
He chooses to give up some shots to make, you know what I mean, to make sure those guys are getting. So when you got an unselfish player like that, to me, that makes a difference. That makes a big difference. All right, let's bring this list up again. And just before we move on to our Do You Remember segment, at 5, the Cleveland Cavaliers. At 4, the Memphis Grizzlies. At 3, the Brooklyn Nets. At 2, the Boston Celtics. And then Denver holds on to the top spot this week. Kenny, if I have to ask you teams that may not be on this list or may move on this list before the next ranking show, which one would you say they were?
Ooh.
Putting you on the spot. You get the big box.
It might be the Nets. Might be the
so
Nets creeping
Boston,
up.
KC, OKC at home, but OKC can score some points. Boston knows that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Boston
they
knows
should know that.
And I would say Cleveland, to me, Cleveland's a concern.
Yeah.
Portland is no pushover. Minnesota again, and then New Orleans. The injury bugs hit them as well, but they can put up some points as well. So Cleveland, to me, I agree with you. Brooklyn could be in some trouble. Boston get that trap game though too. That scares me. The back-to-backs with Charlotte.
Yeah.
To me, those are some of those times where there's games they should win, and they just end up just blowing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my friend, are you ready for Do You Remember?
Oh, I am.
All right, let's see if you could do better than last week's 0-3 performance. All players this week. I made it nice and easy. All players, no records, no all-time records. I try to make it a little easier this week for you. So this player began his career at Indiana, I believe under Larry Bird. Back in they made that finals run. Played for a few other teams. Has been an ESPN analyst. Do you know who the player was and then what team he ended his career?
He has been an ESPN analyst.
When I give you the last clue, I'm sure you'll get the player. I don't know if you remember. You'll remember the team. How about this for the last clue? This is the clue. This takes a half a point away, though.
Antonio Davis.
Antonio Davis, your guess? Do you remember?
Yeah, because he's the only one that's been on ESPN.
Okay. And what team did Antonio Davis ended his career with?
Whew.
This could be for a full point if you're correct.
Antonio Davis. Wow. Oh, jeez. I want to say the Heat. That might be
Okay.
wrong, though. It might be the
See.
Heat.
Let's see if you are correct, my friend.
No.
All right.
Probably not.
So wrong player.
Oh, man.
Jalen Rose.
Jalen Rose.
And I was going to give you another clue. You didn't ask.
I
I was going to say Fab Five.
I forgot he played on it.
Indiana. You remember that run they made?
Yep.
Played for the Knicks, Toronto, but ended his career with the Phoenix Suns.
Wow.
That looks weird.
I
don't remember
totally,
that. I do not remember him on Phoenix.
Me neither. I don't know.
Right? Weird.
Me neither. Wow.
All right, my friend. Next one.
Dag.
Next one.
These two.
This one might. I don't even know. Great Golden State Warriors teams before this last, run of Curry. They had this guy played with that team. He's been on a few different teams. One of the best point guards, one of the best killer crossovers. Who's the player?
Tim Hardaway.
Tim Hardaway, very good. So half a point. I made that a little easy. TMC, back in the day.
Right? TMC, baby. Right? We believe.
Who was it? It was Mullen, Hardaway. Who was the third guy? Who was the C?
On the tip of my tongue. We had Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullen, and we had what's his name? Oh my gosh,
I'm drawing a blank myself.
Mitch Richmond.
Oh, Mitch Richmond. Oh, so he was the M. And then Chris the C Mullen. Okay, Chris Mullen.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. There we go. That's where I was getting messed up. I was putting Mullen as the very good team. Do you know where he ended his career?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Miami Heat.
Miami Heat. Very good guess, my friend. Very good guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. But not correct.
Oh, Indiana.
He played 10 games for the Indiana Pacers to end his career.
Oh, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. 10 games.
There's a picture on the internet. It counts. It exists. Oh. There it is. You're seeing it with your own eyes. Tim Hardaway played, right? I did not remember that at all. 10 games. Wow. But yes, you're all right. Correct. Golden State, Miami, Dallas, Denver. I don't remember that stop either. And the Indiana Pacers.
Wow.
So, towards the end of his career, he was just trying to hang on.
Yep.
Yeah, so interested. Tim Hardaway. So half a point. Hey, you're on the board tonight. Not bad.
Right.
Not
half
bad.
A point.
All right. And then I got a Celtic for you.
Oh.
All right.
Yep.
One of the best tandems in Boston Celtics history. Coached by Rick Pitino. Played, obviously, in Boston. Was drafted by Boston. Made many stops before he ended his career. Who's the player? And then what team? And I could give you a big hint if you want, but when you do, that takes a half a point away.
I know. Don't tell me. Patino.
Him. Paul Pierce was there. I believe Paul Pierce was there. Yep.
No.
Yes.
With Patino?
Yeah, Patino had Pierce. Didn't he 1 year? Okay, no, he wasn't with Patino. Okay, he was coached by Patino. The player was. I think Pierce came in right after. Yeah.
Yeah. So that means it's not Antoine. Ooh, wait, hold on. Ooh, wait. What? Oh, I'm so confused right now.
You want the big hint? You want the big clue?
No, I'm going to say Antoine Walker.
Antoine Walker. And what team did Antoine Walker end his career with?
Antoine Walker.
He's another guy that kind of bounced around the league.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's Miami Heat.
Miami Heat.
Yeah,
So let's see if you are correct.
That's my,
Let's see if you are correct, my friend. Is it?
was it
It
Antoine
is
Walker?
Antoine Walker.
Oh, and it was
He
the
ended his career with
Timberwolves.
the Minnesota Timberwolves. You were correct. His last team before the Timberwolves, Miami
Was
Heat.
it Miami Heat, yeah.
Yeah, Antoine Walker. I was gonna do the little shimmy. That was your
The little
big clue.
shimmy,
The little shimmy. You
the
remember
little,
the shimmy
the little,
after hitting the threes?
the little
I mean, he
shimmy.
threw up a lot of threes. So I
Yeah,
mean, a
he
lot of
did.
shimmies.
Yeah, he did.
But
Yes, he did.
Boston, Dallas, Atlanta, Miami ended his career at Minnesota Timberwolves.
Wow.
Antoine Walker. So you got a full point today.
I,
You got
I
two
don't.
half points. You got Hardaway and you got Antoine Walker. You just didn't get the
Wow.
teams. But do you remember, my friend? That is the do you
Yeah,
remember segment.
I
Always
don't
have some fun
remember.
with those. I don't
I
remember.
don't. I don't remember that.
Like maybe I should put that as the side. Don't remember this?
You don't remember this?
Maybe just a
Hmm?
because a lot of these you're like, what?
What?
Kenny, I love doing these, my friend. I love the rankings. Continue
Good.
to wow us each and every week. We are getting great responses. The Reddit crowd. So if you don't, you can join Sports Unfolded on Reddit at Sports Unfolded. And I'm telling you, the fans on Reddit have either loved the list or hated it. There's no in between. But
I love it.
I think we're doing a great job of really making people think about why and where we're at with this list. Check us out every Friday night at 6 p.m. So tomorrow night, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, only on Rhode Island Broadcasting. Very special guest. We have the Con Man, actually has his own podcast. He's joining us, basketball connoisseur. I mean, he's played with Dr. J and some guys. So we're going to have a lot of fun talking to him tomorrow night. Kenny, maybe you should join us for that. We'll do a little NBA talk tomorrow. All right.
Yeah.
If you got time,
All
6 p.m. tomorrow night, Rhode Island Broadcasting. Check that out. Look forward to your next rankings on Monday, every Monday. And we'll see how this goes, man. It's going to be a fun game tonight. We got to see how Brooklyn and Boston are going.
Whew.
Kenny, as always, thank you for your time tonight. All we ever ask for in this world is peace on earth.
Peace.